Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called I'm Thinking of Becoming a Mixed Martial Arts Fighter. Today's show is also a viewer consultation show, and that's where we answer the questions of viewers who write in. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, follow, and comment on the show, as well as to tell you about a company named HollywoodIsCalling.com. It allows you to purchase live calls with hundreds of celebrities. You can purchase a live 15-second call with a real star for $19.95, and you can get a live 30-second call with a celebrity for $29.95. So give it a try. It's HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now let's get started. Jolene writes, what are the best states in the U.S. to find a job? Jolene, I would focus on red or Republican states. They have lower taxes, and their economies are going really well, generating a lot of jobs. The blue or Democratic states have high taxes, terrible job markets, and very high crime rates. The standard of living in blue states is dropping every day and getting worse. All you have to do is go on YouTube and watch, some of the videos being shot in cities like San Francisco or New York or Los Angeles, and you will see an explosion in the homeless population. These are all people who weren't able to find, not all, but a lot of them were people who just weren't able to find jobs, or they had jobs, but the jobs did not allow them to afford rent. Rent is exploding in a lot of these blue states. San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, the rent is sky high, and fewer people can afford to live in those cities. Next, we have Manuel. Manuel says, I'm thinking of starting a career as a mixed martial arts fighter. What do you think? Well, if you're Conor McGregor or John Jones, then you're making a lot of money as a mixed martial artist. But if you're not one of the top well-known fighters, you're making almost nothing. On top of that, every punch you take to the brain or to the body causes you to accumulate what's known as brain trauma, or CTE. CTE is what's known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a progressive degenerative disease of the brain in people who have a history of repetitive brain trauma. Every punch to the chest, every jarring of the skull, every severe movement shakes the brain violently, and that causes trauma. And that damage is permanent. There is no cure for it. Let me tell you something that people don't realize. People used to think that you had to get knocked out in order to get CTE. That's not the case. People thought that, then people thought that if you just got punched, well, maybe a punch to the face, that would cause CTE. That's no longer the limiting threshold either. Now they're finding out that just being punched in the chest or pushed in the chest or playing soccer on the soccer field and bouncing a soccer ball off your forehead or off your chest, just those low threshold impacts cause CTE. It's progressive CTE, so it may require hundreds of such impacts over time, but it does cause the traumatic damage. And this damage increases over time, and it will eventually debilitate, and it can kill you. If you Google CTE patients, CTE victims on YouTube, you will be stunned at all the professional athletes, most notably a lot of the dead NFL football players who were found to have CTE. A very high and a very scary percentage of them died from it. It is a really, really serious issue. So for all those mothers out there who used to be cheerleaders back in the day, and now they want to see the little sons join the high school football team, my advice to you is don't do it. Avoid it at all costs, because you could very well be dooming your life, your son's life, to a life of menial jobs, low college entrance exam scores, learning disabilities, mood disorders, suicidal tendencies, and a proclivity to use narcotics to alleviate all the pain he's feeling from the CTE. You could literally be dooming your son to that life just by letting him enroll in high school or college football. I would strongly recommend that the parents everywhere not only forbid their kids from playing football, but send in a formal letter to their high school or college preventing their sons or daughters from playing any traumatic sports. All the traumatic sports, whether it's boxing or football or even soccer, that cause low grade or high grade skull impacts. This is all fast tracking your son to CTE, which is a disaster. Avoid it. Dimitri writes, I'm a software code writer. I freelance and I make about $100,000 a year. Should I go back and get my master's in computer science? Well, Dimitri, if you can find a company to pay for your master's education, then by all means do so. Alternatively, you can double your income by starting a consulting firm on the side, outside of your day job. Don't quit that, and start hiring programmers, and then farming them out on a project by project basis. So now, instead of just working your day job as a full-time programmer, you can also have a side gig, which you can run online in the evenings or on the weekends, and you can have dozens of part-time freelancers, freelance software coders working for you, and you can dramatically increase your income from that sort of thing. So explore that further. Next, we have Camille. Camille writes, I'm thinking about buying a house to live in. What are your thoughts? Well, Camille, I would save a little bit longer and buy a duplex. Live in one unit and rent out the other so your renters can pay your mortgage. That's the best way to do it. If you have to live with your parents for a few more years so you can save up more money for a duplex, do it. It'll make all the difference. Because once you buy an expensive house with an expensive mortgage, it's very, very difficult to leverage your way beyond that. You need cash flow. And a duplex or a fourplex, that can give you cash flow. The cash flow you need to pay your existing mortgage and start investing in additional rental properties. So give that a try. Lulu writes, is there any money at all to be made in liberal arts degrees? Well, Lulu, usually not. That kind of degree may qualify you for other jobs which simply require a college degree of some sort, of any sort. But generally speaking, those are not big money, fast track jobs. Those tend to be, the lower end of the employment spectrum that pay less and they grind you up and spit you out. Flynn writes, I'm thinking of opening up a Coney Island hot dog restaurant. Well, they have Coney Island hot dog and burger joints all over the Midwest, and these places, they tend to be recession proof. No matter how bad the economy gets in some of these states, there are always people going to the Coney Islands and getting an inexpensive burger or a hot dog. So when all the high-end and mid-level restaurants file for bankruptcy because the economy has taken a dump, take a look around. You'll see the Coney Islands, they're still open. And one other thing you should know, the phrase Coney Island is not trademarked, so anybody can use it. You can call your place Joe's Coney Island, or Mary's Coney Island, or Jim's Coney Island. Doesn't matter. To my knowledge, at this point in time, there's no current existing trademark on the phrase Coney Island. So think about that. Next, Neil writes, my mom can't sell her house. What should I do? Well, the first thing I would do is I would have your mother talk to half a dozen realtors, get their opinions on the pricing of the home, on the marketplace she's in, on the appearance of the interior and the exterior of the home. Get a lot of feedback because something's definitely going on. Next, I would talk to a couple of professional stagers, have them come in and give your mother an appraisal on what they could do and what they would charge, and also ask them for references to see what kind of success they've had before working in the price range of your mother's existing home. That's important. So with that, I want to thank you all, and I want to wish you well, and we shall talk to you soon.